My name is Jessica, and I have always been a thrill seeker when it comes to planning vacations. This time, my adventurous spirit led me to a vacation location that promised excitement and breathtaking views. Little did I know that this trip would turn into a nightmare beyond my wildest imaginations. It started innocently enough. The travel brochures showcased a luxurious resort nestled amidst dense forests and overlooking a pristine lake. The perfect getaway for those seeking solace in nature's embrace. The moment I arrived, however, an eerie feeling washed over me, as if a cold gust of wind whispered strange secrets in my ears. The resort staff seemed oblivious to the ominous atmosphere, greeting me with warm smiles and friendly faces. But I couldn't shake off the feeling that someone, or something, was lurking in the shadows. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, haunting shadows across the landscape, I decided to take a leisurely stroll by the lake, hoping to calm my nerves. Moonlight danced on the water's surface, creating mesmerizing ripples. Lost in the tranquility of the moment, I spotted a figure in the distance. It appeared to be a lady dressed in a flowing white gown, draped in ethereal beauty. Her eyes were wide open, fixed on something unseen, and her face was twisted in an expression of rage. Curiosity mingled with fear as I approached cautiously. Her maddening gaze met mine, and instinctively, I wanted to flee. But my feet seemed rooted to the spot. Suddenly, the lady's face contorted into a terrifying mask. Her eyes turned bloodshot, and her peaceful demeanor transformed into a grotesque manifestation of terror. I couldn't tear my gaze away as she lunged toward me, her gnarled fingers reaching out to grip my throat. I gasped for air, feeling her nails puncture my skin. Panic consumed me, and I managed to break free from her grasp, stumbling back in horror. But she wasn't finished with me yet. Every night, the lady in white haunted guests of the resort, attacking them in their most vulnerable moments. Her terrifying face would leave them scarred, both physically and mentally. The once tranquil vacation spot transformed into a nightmare for anyone who dared to visit. Word quickly spread among the guests, and a collective terror gripped the resort. People stopped venturing out after sunset, fear taking hold of their once adventurous spirits. In hushed whispers, some spoke of an abandoned asylum nearby that may have held a dark secret responsible for the lady's malevolent presence. Determined to uncover the truth, I embarked on a mission to unravel the mystery behind the lady in white. Days turned into nights, and I delved deep into the history of the resort and its surroundings. Tales of a forbidden love and betrayal emerged, painting a tragic picture that seemed to resonate with the lady's tormented spirit. Legend had it that the lady was once an enchanting beauty who lived at the resort during the early 1900s. She had fallen in love with a dashing young man, only to discover his deceitful heart. Consumed by anger and despair, she was driven to madness and ultimately met her untimely death. As people grew wary of visiting the resort, its owners devised a plan to cover up the horrifying truth. They would lure guests with the promise of stunning landscapes and luxurious accommodations, only to expose them to the wrath of the lady in white. The owners took pleasure in observing the torment and suffering of others, nurturing the lady's spirit and exploiting her curse. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I resolved to end the cycle of misery. I reached out to a group of paranormal investigators, sharing my findings and pleading for their assistance. Together, we formulated a plan to confront the lady and set her spirit free. On a moonlit night, we gathered by the lake, where her presence was strongest. Armed with protective charms and cameras to capture evidence of her existence, we chanted ancient incantations and beseeched the lady to find solace in the afterlife. It felt as though time stood still, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. And then, in a sudden whirlwind of ethereal mist, the lady appeared before us. Her face no longer twisted with rage, but filled with sorrow and longing. As we continued our chants, her figure started to fade, gradually leaving behind a sense of peace that permeated the air. The curse had been broken, and tranquility returned to the once haunted resort. The owners responsible for perpetuating the lady's torment were held accountable, and the truth was revealed to the world. As the lady's spirit found eternal rest, those who had suffered at her hands felt a weight lift from their shoulders. Years have passed since that fateful vacation, but the memory of the lady in white and her haunting presence still lingers in my mind. It serves as a reminder that beneath the allure of supposedly idyllic destinations lies the potential for darkness and malevolence.